Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you're doing well. This is Shabana Osman presenting to you the 13th episode of our relationship series. In the previous episode 12, we dealt and concluded with the topic of marriage. And the last thing I told you was that you need to have ihsan in your marriage. And I know one of the key questions that most people ask themselves is, how can I be the best? But let me tell you, the Quran, Surah Al Imran, Ayah 110, Allah tells us that we are the best of the people. So Allah has already told you you are. So all you need to do is embrace that and become one. And how do you become one? You take the journey through the Quranic science of the nafs and learn what the Quran and the Sunnah tells you on how to become the best of you. So today now we continue with the 13th episode of our series, and now we start the beautiful topic of parenting, which is a key goal of most parents. And the topic I want to discuss is, what is your role as a parent in Islam? Yeah. So what happens, we as parents, we know our children need attachment. I'm sure you've heard of the attachment theory. And what happens as a child is born and detaches from the womb of the mother, that child craves for that attention. And as parents, we are overwhelmed with that state of attaching ourselves and taking care of ourselves, of our children. And what happens, we start worrying, and we worry about what will happen to my child if I'm not there. Will my child attain dunya and akhirah? Will my child be healthy? Will my child be able to sustain themselves? Will they be happy and joyful? And what will happen with them? Will they be forsaken and neglected if I'm not there? So we live with that worry as parents, and in the end, what do we end up doing? We do three things. One is, we either become very authoritative and we basically control our children and protect them and become very aggressive in how we parent. The second way is, we want them to have everything. So we pamper them with all that they need, with the luxuries, with having the best education, with everything that they would, or you perceive as they would need, so that they equip themselves for the future. And the third, parenting, is where the parent actually gets overwhelmed with the role of parenting and now becomes an escaped parent. And so they do not take on their role, and they feel overwhelmed with the fear of failing in their parenting journey. And that is what ends up happening in their parenting styles. And so it's important that we first answer that key question. And the Quran answers those questions for us. And where does it answer it? In this beautiful surah of Surah Doha. So Allah answers us as He was answering the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In Ayah 3, Allah tells Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, your Lord has not forsaken you, nor is He displeased with you. So whether or not you are there, or Allah is there for your child. So do not feel that they will be forsaken. Number 2, you worry about where will they get their rizq, who will be there to take care of them. Allah answers you in Ayah 5 of Surah Duha, and your Lord is going to give you and you will be satisfied. So you need to hold on to that. And in Ayah 6, Allah answers you on when you are not there, what happens. Yeah, Allah says in Ayah 6, did He not find you an orphan and give you refuge? So even if you're gone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give your child that refuge that they need. And Allah also answers you, if now they lose their way, who will guide them? And Allah answers in Ayah 7, and He found you lost and guided you. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who will guide your child, even when they are lost. And finally, your final question of who will be sufficient for them. And Allah answers, and He found you poor and made you self-sufficient. So my dear parents, what your child needs is that attachment to Allah. Yeah, as the child grows, they will attach to you as a parent, but you need to and take on your role as a parent, as a Muslim parent, and attach them to the source of the greatest source of attachment, and that is Allah Himself. Allah will never abandon them. Allah will never leave them. Allah will always take care of them. He will nurture them. He will guide them, and He will be there for them. And that is what you need as a source of attachment. So instead of doing any of the three parenting styles, you need to take on the most beautiful role that Allah has bestowed upon you, and attach your child as the first key role that you will play in their life by attaching them to Allah. And that we will teach you in this journey when you enroll in our relationship program, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.